Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. This time it is about weapon customization. I'll be discussing which weapons in my opinion are worth leveling first. This will be catered to new players who hasn't unlocked everything yet and wants to know which weapons are worth investing early on. If you are not new but doesn't know which weapon to level next, then this video could be also useful for you. Also, I would like to add, if I did not mention your favorite weapon, it is likely because it is already fine as it is and does not need to be leveled to be good or better. Before we start with the main topic of the video, let me explain what ergonomic is since I'll be using that a lot. So ergonomic is a stat of how well your Helldiver can handle or aim with that weapon. As you can see, we have two crosshairs. One is a circle and one is the yellow red dot or whatever color you pick in the options. The dot is your mouse movement and the circle is where your Helldiver is aiming at. If the ergonomic of the gun is high, it will be easier for the Helldiver to chase your mouse movement or aim with the gun. But if it's low, like for the heavy machine gun, it'll be a lot harder for the Helldiver to catch up, or it will feel more sluggish. It even works while aiming down sights. And if we go to the SMG, see how different and snappy it is. And that's pretty much what ergonomic is. Let's start off with the assault rifle. In this category, the best weapon to level is the Liberator Carbine. It has the highest fire rate and ergonomic in this category. It comes with full sets of attachments from optics, underbarrel, muzzle, and magazine. For me, I use the tube red dot, vertical foregrip, compensator, and drum magazine. This will drop down your ergonomics a bit to 45 and increase your bullet count from 45 to 60 magazines. In the recoil sim, this is the uncustomized carbine and this is a customized one. If you do not have the Warband, which is the Viper Commando, to get the carbine, the next best thing is the Liberator. And the only difference is it's a slightly lower ergonomic and a significantly lower fire rate from 920 to 640, but still, I think the Liberator is the best all-rounder gun to have. It also comes with a full set of attachments from optics, underbarrel, muzzle, and magazine. For me, I would keep the holographic sight, have a vertical foregrip, compensator, and drum magazine. The next assault rifle I recommend is something with medium armor penetration, so either the Liberator Penetrator or the Adjudicator. The difference between the two is if you prefer close to medium range, go with the Liberator Penetrator, but if you prefer medium to long range, I suggest the Adjudicator. Their difference is also with what attachments you can have. For the Liberator Penetrator, you can have the optics, underbarrel, muzzle, and magazine. But for the Adjudicator, you cannot customize the magazine. For the Liberator Penetrator, I went with the 2x tube red dot, vertical foregrip, flash hider, because if you equip the compensator, the horizontal recoil is actually insane, and I prefer controlling the vertical recoil over the horizontal recoil. And for magazine, I went with a drum mag. For the Adjudicator, if I'm gonna play really long range, I would go with a 10x sniper scope, but for now I'm using the 4x combat scope, vertical foregrip, and the compensator once I unlocked it. Now for the assault rifles, which I think you shouldn't prioritize when to leveling, and I'm not saying they're bad, it's just that when you level them, you don't really get much benefit compared to the other assault rifles in the category. And these are the concussive and the tenderizer, because as their own, they're already that good as their own. Like I said, if you enjoy these guns, it's fine. But there are still other guns you can level to make them even better than they are. For the marksman rifle, there aren't really much choice here. It's either between the Diligence Counter Sniper and the Diligence. I'm not saying these other three guns are bad, it's just they don't really offer any much customization. This is just the optic for amendment. Same for Deadeye, it's only optic. As for the Constitution, it's only patterns. So you only have really two choices for marksman rifle when it comes to leveling, which is the counter sniper and the Diligence. For the Diligence, it has lower damage, higher capacity, light armor penetration, but a higher ergonomic stat. So you can snap between targets a lot faster with the Diligence, compared to the Counter Sniper, which has medium armor penetration, but 200 damage and lower magazine capacity, and the recoil is absolutely low. And you can really feel the sluggishness of the Counter Sniper. But since you're at long range, it isn't really much of an issue when you're trying to pick off targets. It's only when you're switching between targets. So it's pretty much your choice. Like, both guns are fine. Another key difference between the Diligence and the Counter Sniper is in their customization. The Diligence only has a 4x combat scope, while the Counter Sniper has the 10x sniper scope. So keep that in mind when you're choosing between the two. For the Diligence, if I were to build it, I would keep the 4x combat scope, have vertical foregrip, and compensator. For the Diligence, I would focus more on ergonomics. So I will have the angled foregrip and probably a flash hider. Since both are semi-automatic, I don't think recoil would be an issue. For the submachine gun category, I definitely say it's the Reprimand. Out of all the guns who benefited from this update, it's definitely the Reprimand. For this, I used a 1.52 red dot, vertical foregrip, and a compensator. And sadly, I can't show you the before and after because every time I switch between my weapon config, it crashes the game for some weird reason. And I think Arrowhead are aware of this bug. So for the sake of this video, I won't show it. Sorry about that. But yeah, having the vertical recoil to be this low now makes the Reprimand really, really strong. And I would like to shout out between the Pummeler and the Defender. I wish I leveled the Pummeler first because both the Defender and the Pummeler are the same gun, except the Pummeler uses concussive rounds, and this gun has been very useful for me when I was in the bug front when the Stalker variant came out. It saved a lot of Helldiver lives, including mine and teammates. To add more info regarding both guns, the Defender has a better recoil pattern compared to the Pummeler. Even with attachments such as the compensator, the recoil is still very, very wild. Also keep in mind, the underbarrel of the Pummeler is only 2. It doesn't have like a vertical foregrip, since in this image it already has a vertical foregrip, but the pattern is just really out there. So it's really recommend to use this at close range and firing it at semi-auto when using it for medium and long range. I also forgot to mention that the Reprimand is a 2-handed SMG, while the Defender and Pummeler are 1-handed. So if you like to bring shields, then use the Defender or Pummeler. Now, I would like to put like a special note for the Knight SMG. This gun is only available if you bought the Super Citizen Edition. Now, if you bought that edition, for me, the Knight is probably the best SMG in the game. But is it worth getting the set edition? That's up to you. But for me, it is. Because it is one of those unique guns that is fun to use because of its high fire rate. As for its customization, I have a tube red dot, vertical foregrip, compensator, and extended magazine, which increases the bullet count from 50 to 70. As you can see in the recoil sim, the vertical recoil is drastically reduced. For shotguns, it is the breaker because the rest of the shotguns, there's limited customization. Like you can only change the optic, the muzzle. Same for the slugger, I think it's just the optic, yes, very limited. So this one only optic. Cookout, also only the optic. So if I were to level one of these, I would just change them to an iron sight for the increased ergonomics. But yeah, if you're planning to invest, I would suggest the breaker. I would change it to the iron sight, add some vertical foregrip, not vertical, angled foregrip for the better ergonomics, then full choke, and a drum mag. So you can pretty much have the OG breaker back from when the game first released. For the explosive category, it is definitely the Eruptor, and you don't even need to max level it to get the attachments you need. So you just need the iron sight and the angled foregrip to increase the ergonomics to 35. So its biggest drawback, which is how sluggish it is now lessened. Now for the energy-based weapons. and it is just the sight, because out of all the weapons in this category, it is the only one that has attachments to upgrade with, which are optics, underbarrel, and magazine. And I would change it. I would keep the tube red dot, put in an angled foregrip, and high capacity heat sink. As for the rest of the weapons, as you can see, you can only change the optics. As for the plasma weapons, you can add an underbarrel for them to add some foregrip or vertical or angled to increase its recoil or ergonomics, but I never had an issue with any of those when it comes to their recoil and ergonomics, so which is weird. I wish Arrowhead would add more attachments to the other weapons, like even just like higher capacity or whatever they can think of, because it really felt bad that the sickle only got an optic. I wish it had the magazine cap also. It will also be nice if the energy-based weapons get components instead of attachments, where how they shoot changes. Like the Arc Blitzer, it arcs more, but the range is lowered. The Purifier has a faster charge time, or just even remove the safety of the charge. Make it like the rail gun, where it explodes on you if you charge it too much. For the final category, it is the Dominator, because the Torture only has patterns, no attachments. For the Dominator, I would pick the Iron Sight and angled foregrip just for the ergonomics. And this is the closest thing we'll ever have to a bolter if you're a Warhammer 40k fan. You can say the Eruptors could be a bolter, but I prefer it being a semi-auto, not a bolt action. That's my list of weapons worth leveling, and as I said earlier, if your weapon was not mentioned, it does not mean said weapon is bad. Feel free to share your own take on the weapon customization update down in the comments below. I hope this video was helpful, and thanks for watching.